Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Stephen E. Kelly. This is Stephen E. Kelly's show. We have been going through all sorts of trauma. I managed to find a microphone that I could get working. I've got a new one on the way, but it hasn't arrived. Got no monitor, so I can't hear anything. All I can do is look at the squiggly, what is it? What do they call it? Level meter. I tell if I'm going to the red, red. Yeah, that's the red. Anyway, we might have some good audio tonight. You tell me, but it looks pretty flat and clean when we're not saying it. Anyway, I'm sorry for wasting all this time. All right, welcome to the show. My name is Stephen E. Kelly. This is the Stephen E. Kelly Show. We are Tweet That Radio, www.tweetThatRadio.com. It's now 6:02 p.m. It is April 23rd, 423, 3 days after 420, which will forever be known in our little community as the day that David Wilcock did or did not shoot himself. So I have to talk about that a little bit tonight. I know I already did it, but I'm going to explore a little bit more, not because I need to beat this horse at all, but because I do need to entertain the possibility that there was foul play, even though I think he did have some issues. But at the same time, there are other things going on out there that would suggest that, for logical or illogical reasons, that an attack on anybody associated with the so-called UFO community is not that far-fetched. Of course, that so-called UFO community, David is certainly one of them. He was one from the very early stages. He was doing it before I was. But anyway. Yeah, I made a couple of videos, and I did point out that there, as far as it goes with the big names and all that, obviously, if he was a big name, if you were to look at, say, the lineup of Harry Cassidy's show that took place not too long ago, David was one of the headliners. Shaw David Martin was there, of course. I think he was I'm pretty sure. Jordan Maxwell, these kind of characters. Anyway, these guys are all gone. Most of them are all gone. Preston Nichols, he's gone. Archer, what's his face? I don't know. Bashar, he's obviously still alive. But anyway, anybody who's anybody in our little community is pretty much gone. And it's interesting because I just had to think about this thing with the whole scientists being killed off. And there's a couple aspects to this thing that I want to entertain, at least try to keep an open mind about. And let's just say that, first of all, yes, this is not a random thing. Yeah, there's an inordinate amount of people involved in not just aerospace, but pretty specific areas of research involving things that would very likely be involved in extraterrestrial life, beam ship construction, light speed, this kind of thing. And then there's also the whole concept of the, as people like to say, stargates, but that's just another word for quantum computer. Anyway, so yeah, the other thing that's really significant about that is that apparently a lot of these scientists were involved, well, with Jeffrey Epstein, as they like to say. And once again, I think this is significant not because so many people out there will go, wow, another situation where he had his fingers in something, and isn't that mysterious? Now, again, when you remember and you understand that these people are the world mafia, these people are Intertel, these people are basically a huge-ass genocidal club that you're not part of that is working very hard to kill you now. So when you look at people like Donald Trump or Epstein or Netanyahu or any of these players in this big charade, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, etc., you have to remember it's all the same thing. They're all the same thing, and all of their actions were designed to, well, prepare for the coming of the Antichrist or the great despot or the great king of Zion, as they like to say. You know, the opposite of Jesus, the opposite of Christ. I don't know. I guess the thing is that if you haven't figured that out yet, if you haven't figured out that Epstein actually wasn't just some pervert, but actually was the boss of this entire worldwide mafia, at least as far as the day-to-day corporate duties are concerned, then you really want to understand why he really was having interaction with all these people, and they look upon these interactions as some sort of a. So yeah, it's not a coincidence. And the bottom line is that yes, the mafia was involved because certainly, as much as they're involved in your day-to-day life, they're also all trying to increase their own lifespan, go to stars, establish bases on other things, all that sort of thing. So in other words, if you think of NASA, you think of any of this research, you think of deep space research, and even the secret space program, you're talking about this mafia. I mean, those of us that know about the Getty know that the secret space program is right next door on the ground, and it's very difficult to visit one without people get it. You know, there is more to this concept of trying to liquidate these people because maybe the research has been done. Maybe if you consider that all of this research is being paid for by the mafia, certainly they would have no need to continue to keep the scientists alive once the research was complete. Kind of like a James Bond movie or some sort of spy thriller where they obviously always get the information or the code or the recipe or the formula from the doctor and then they kill him. Ah, now I've got the formula and nobody can recreate it. How many movies have you seen with that script? It seems kind of obvious. The other thing, obviously, is that it's all about, well, teaching the public. Now, COVID, of course, seems like it was so long ago, but when the pandemic was hadn't started, it was in its infancy, and people like Bill Gates and, well, Epstein were planning on it. One of the first things they did was they started killing off mild bioscience. Yeah. Science. Anybody that had any potential to identify what was going on with the soon to be released pandemic was liquidated. They were removed. Slews of eminent scientists, at least 40 of them. I remember counting them up, but most of those people were people that would have been involved with, curing AIDS or authorities on the science that would be associated with this stupid pandemic. Trust the science. Well, yes, trust the science, but that's before they killed all the scientists. So they're doing something similar to that. The other possibility is that this business with people like James Rink, David Wilcock, his biographer, and whoever, I don't really want to include Jordan or the other guy into this, Sean, into that link, but yes, if you're paying any attention to how this has been going down, for instance, one of the scientists, a woman, I believe she was in New Mexico, talked about how she was being irradiated and how she was sitting at her typewriter. Yeah, I know she used a typewriter. She would be exposed to two windows, and that she believes it was through these windows that somebody was able to potentially hit her with microwaves or some other type of radiation. Either way, she blocked those windows, and the symptoms seemed to go away. Amazing that, isn't it? I can think of people like Andrew Basagio. He was hit with this. He was partially blinded. If you look at Wikipedia, they'll say, yeah, he was blinded. James Rink complained about devices attacking him. And Corey Good, yeah, he's a con man, but he's been trying to just say that David Wilcock was complaining about being attacked in such a way also. So none of this is really strange to me. And I'll just share one thing with you. That big flashlight that I worked on, that CIA project, one of the things they would do, of course, is they had an infrared filter that they would put on the thing, and it would reduce some of the light output, not very much, but everything that did come out was in the infrared. You couldn't see it. But it was so bright that it could actually damage your sight. The other thing about this, of course, is that it could be modulated and used as something that could screw your brain. But the bottom line is that I know that this particular weapon, this tool, this flashlight, was used at Waco to actually shine into windows for the purpose of blinding anybody that was watching out of the window. Because the infrared light is invisible, your eyes don't blink, you don't close your eyes, you don't respond, and you subsequently get damaged. So obviously it wouldn't be that hard to set up some sort of device outside of someone's home, perhaps in a tree, and shine it into their window. It's going to make a glare, and eventually this will cause a negative reaction. And also, like I said, if you are using some sort of modulation such that you could, there's a particular sine wave, and if you could hit a target with two sources that have the same exact sine wave, and you could calibrate that properly, you could introduce scalar information onto a target, and you can completely alter that reality and ruin it pretty hard. So, technically speaking, there is certainly a lot of ways that they could have actually, been harassing any one of these individuals, and at the very least, these scientists, who many of them also complained about this subject. Obviously, I don't particularly care about that. I mean, I'm already paranoid, 20 years of having to worry about the CIA screwing with you and then changing it over to the point where they're having to worry about me. I find this, I don't find it, I won't say I find it amusing, but there was a post somebody made when I put up a video talking about David, what happened to him, and anyway, somebody made a comment. They said, somebody's got to protect Stephen D. Kelly. And I thought, really? Somebody's got to protect me? First of all, how are you supposed to do that? Make a human chain around me and you're going to watch for psychotic behavior? I really don't understand what the people are thinking. And I kind of thought, I'm the one that they usually need to be protected from, not the other way around. I mean, as if to suggest that all of a sudden they didn't want to do something that they didn't already want to do. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. The other thing that I think is kind of interesting about that, I mean, just that somebody would say that at all. But when I think about it, I realize that, if they were trying to do some sort of really lame Project Bluebeam thing, or if Trump was to call up some fake aliens to come down and perhaps say that they know for certain he's not a pedophile, I think to make people forget about Epstein, he'll do that. He's that hard up. But if they were trying to kill off all the UFO people, what the hell? I mean, I don't know. I have a feeling like, I'm going to be the only one left there, except for the crackpots that are still doing these shows, I guess. But there must be something to that. That's all I can say. And I really have to wonder who else is next. But then the other thing you have to consider is that if all of these people were, shall we say, guilty, who the heck is probably? The point I'm trying to make is that, Well, I guess technology-wise, everything that these people have been talking about, everything these people have been working on, stuff I've been talking about, I mentioned that already once before, so I think this is going to leave me in a strong position. But okay, I remember what I wanted to say was that a lot of these people who are being taken out, in a way, you could say they are working for the enemy. So the people who are mouthpieces and propagandists for the enemy, they are certainly vulnerable, because obviously if you are a Mason or a Bilderberger or something of this nature, or you have compromised your soul in such a way, then you are expendable, and you have agreed that they can have you when at their leisure. So this doesn't surprise me. Technically, I suppose these NASA scientists, they have perhaps signed contracts and things like that, and these guys probably feel the same way, that their lives are, at their pleasure. But perhaps that's one of the reasons why they don't get a hold of me. but I do know that a lot of these people were probably being shipped out to Area 51. And the very fact that so many were disappearing around New Mexico says they're probably ending up at Dulce or something. But either way, it doesn't surprise me at all that they may be collecting these people and setting them aside, because when it's time for them to do their big psyop, the last thing they need is some scientists coming out, and saying, well, that's simple. Let's just modulate plasma causing silver to create ultraviolet light and wipe the culture, or something of this nature. Ion drive, just, that kind of technology. Either way, they're suppressing it, and it's probably for a good reason. It's probably because we're getting too strong. We're getting too close to the truth. They don't need those people anymore, or something else. Either way, it's on me. Let me see, we're only 18 minutes in. Probably not going to go too long. I'm still too weird about this microphone. Yes, mister, what's going on? Yeah. There you go. I'm sure this microphone captures that kitty pretty good. You a contact. All right. Where was I? Oh yeah. Back to David. Now, I may have been a little harsh on David, in some respect, because and again, I really don't know. None of us really know until we get that information handed to us, and so yeah, it's true. I really don't know what happened, where he was shot, who shot who, what happened. But I do believe he's dead. I do think that Kerry Cassidy, you're nuts if you really truly believe he's still alive and was spirited away by super soldiers. You're truly not. Seriously. But no, I don't think that happened. But again, I am really disappointed, and I'm disappointed that our little industry had to have this happen. And I'm disappointed that he didn't come to me. I'm disappointed that I didn't have the opportunity to talk to him at all before this happened. And certainly whatever he did with Corey Goode was a big stain that caused my opinion of him to go very far down. But all of these things can be overcome. All right. Now, Corey, I don't know you. And you're still plowing on with the bullshit, kind of like Terry and the rest of a lot of these people. But you're going to kill yourself? I don't know. Maybe it's time to come clean, and I'm really disappointed you didn't do that. What more can I say? All right. There's probably all kinds of things I want to say. I don't want to talk about Trump retardation. What's the latest thing? Israeli soldiers smashing Jesus statue. Yeah, I don't think that's going to fly very good. This destruction of Lebanon right now and what's going on in Iran, it's not good. And yes, Trump did try to nuke Iran. He was stopped. He was actually kicked out of the Situation Room by the generals. Not just the time that he tried to nuke Iran, but one time when he was just acting like a crazy man and yelling at everybody. That's not the kind of, well, obviously he's unhinged, and if anybody was truly had any background, they would have removed him from office. Anyway, the alternatives are not good, but at the same time, the difference between the alternatives and what we've got right now are not a whole lot different, except that Gavin Newsom is more of a Nazi, I suppose, than Trump, who's more of a Zionist. Doesn't make a difference. All right, everybody, I'm tired. I'm going to get a burger. We're working on the shirts. Just got a bunch of art in. Working on that. Working on the game. I'll just tell you about the game real quick. Game's kicking out. So I'll tell you what we did on the game. It's really, really cool. We have to take art and stuff, like, for instance, the art in the Getty. We're going to use that. But any object that we want to put into 3D and using the game as a usable object has to go through certain processing, like what we call Blender. Anyway, we found out that there are AI programs that you can take the art and process it process the art before you put it in Blender, and they work really good. But what we did was we started rendering all of the art in the Getty, all 440 paintings. We did a couple test ones, like Van Gogh's Iris. We did that. It came out really incredible. But it turns out that the software we were using wasn't even designed to do what we were doing. We kind of, I wouldn't say we broke it, but yeah, They were very, very impressed by what we did. They were surprised. They couldn't figure out how we did what we did. But yep, bottom line is that we're going to be able to create lots of art. The map is done. Well, it's not done. It's about 50% done. But as soon as that thing gets scanned, we'll be able to fill it up and put this game together and hopefully get it out a lot quicker than we were expecting. Very exciting. Looking forward to that. It'll be a wonderful vehicle for getting the word out there about the mission and Occupy the Getty and all that good stuff. Very exciting. All right. With my music. I do have to say though, yeah, David's passing was kind of, well, it screwed up my buzz. It screwed my buzz. It harshed my buzz. All right. I went, come on, 420. He did it on 420. I didn't find out until the next day, but still put a damper on the situation. So, and yeah, I shouldn't be surprised when all of us start dropping off because we are old looking. Somebody posted a picture of, what was it? Well, David, as well as James Rank and this other guy, and suggesting that they all look like shit before they died. Yeah, we look like shit. I look like shit. It's okay. I can accept that. That's what old age does to you. Either way, at the same time, it's kind of like a taunting, if you will, because I'm going to inherit all of it. And if that means that when this alien hoax comes out, that I'm the only one left that can basically say who's full of shit and who isn't, it kind of looks like that's the way it's happening. And so, in other words, the way I see it, they think they're preparing the world for their great king despot. Well, that's me, bitches. And thank you so much. I mean, your methods are bullshit, but yeah, you are certainly preparing things for my usurping your power very nicely. Keep it up. All right, everybody. Like I said, it's strange now. I'm going to leave it at this. Well, are we only 25 minutes in? Yeah. At least we got halfway decent sound, I hope. And I am recording. All right, everybody. Who's watching? We're there. Hey. All right. You give me your feedback. What you think the audio's like. All right, everybody. Once again, if you haven't joined my Telegram group, please do hurry up. It's Occupy the Gay / Stephen D. Kelly in Telegram. The OTG item store is working pretty well. Like I said, we got new art, and you just got to go to it. And it's like I said, it's otgitems.com. It's working. What else? Like I said, the game's going to be very exciting, but it's going to be months and months before we actually have even a demo for me to play. Hopefully, it'll be sooner than that. But in a month or two, if we can have a demo up, that'd be really. I think we could do it. I think we can do it. I'm sure we could do it. All right. Anyway, once again, also, if you guys want to help out economically, please do send a contribution to Stephen Kelly 714 at yahoo.com. All right. And do please say that it's for a friend or family. You got to tick that box for that thing, or I got to send it back. That's just the way it is. Okay. Otherwise, yeah, that's it, huh? All right, I'll see you guys in the group. If you want to send me an email, send it to law17gun@aol.com. All right? LAW17GUN at AOL.com. All right, that's for everything. Healing, whatever. Okay, guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to get out of here. I'm tired. It's been stressful trying to get these things working just for tonight, but I think we got through it. So next show, hopefully everything will be 100%. God willing. Okay? All right, that's going to do it for me. So, once again, my name is Stephen D. Kelly. This is the Stephen D. Kelly Show. We are TruthCat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com. Thank you so much. And it's still April 23rd, 3 days after the passing of our buddy, David Wilcock. All right, that's it. All right, it's only 6:27, but I hope you enjoy it, those of you who are here. And I'll see you in the group, okay? Good night. God bless. Adios and goodbye.